For this video, I'm going to make a machine learning resource. And machine learning is, a subject in artificial intelligence where you just give a lot of information to a machine and a lot of data to it, and it learns from it, and then it gets better at it. And there's so much in AI, I'm not going to get into it. So create machine learning, give the workspace a name, and for it, it's going to have you create resources if you don't already have these. That's needed. So it's storage account, key vault, application insights, and a new thing we haven't seen before, container registry. And so let's create a new one. Let's do standards view. And we don't need a book address, that's good. I'm gonna come back when it's created. Okay, it's ready, so let's go to it. Machine learning, and let's launch Studio. And I'm gonna just create a simple pipeline. And let's go to designer, start now, because it's drag and drop interface. So there's some pre-built models already, but I'm just going to create my own. And let's just make some space. And so to build a model, you first need to build a data set. So it has some sample data sets here. And so I'm going to pick automobile price data, and you can just drag it. And let's just X that out. Right click it, you can preview the data. Let's drag this out so it's a lot. But I don't like this normalized data or normalized losses because it has some values that aren't entered, so it's making our data not accurate. So I could just put some default values into it, but I'd rather just get rid of this column. So what I'm going to do is type in select column in dataset. Let's drag it over. Let me just get rid of that. And you connect them to. So we're going to select a column in the dataset. So let's click it. Let's edit the columns. So the first rules include all columns, and then next rule is to exclude that one column we don't want. So do column name and normalized losses and save. So now it's just going to have all the columns except for the normalized losses one, which is what we want. X, and looks good. So now we got, the next thing you do in a model is after you add the data set is you split the data set. So here's a second split data, and I'll leave as is. Connect them. Okay, so for the model, you got your data set. You do whatever you want to it. You split the data set, and then you need a machine learning algorithm. So I'm going to do linear regression. There we go. And I'll leave that as it is. And this here. And so after we have our algorithm and our split data, we also want to train the model. I'll come back. And so we want this to connect here, and that to connect to there. So maybe I'll make it look better. So you see how it has this caution sign, label column is invalid, so we gotta edit it. And let's edit the column, and let's say we want to do price. There. So it's going to select a single column of price, and everything else is good. And so now we have our model. So now we have to score the model. So put that there after you train the model, and you want to split data. So actually it's make it look better. Alright. So that's it for our pipeline. So let's change the name. And save it. So now we need to get a compute cluster to run our machine model. So go to compute cluster, and let's do new. So it's going to create a virtual machine. We'll just leave everything as is. Actually, I'll change this. That should be more than enough. Next, advanced settings. Let's give it a name. And I'll leave everything else default. And it's created. So right now it's creating. In a couple minutes it'll be done, and I'll come back to it. Alright, it's done. So now let's go back to our pipeline. And we can go to the pipeline drafts, open it up, and compute target. And we're going to click the cluster that we made. And you can click submit, and then let's make a new experiment. And click submit. So now it's going to create a pipeline that's going to run our machine learning model on the compute infrastructure. So it's going to take about like 10 minutes for this to be complete, so I'll come back. Okay, it's ready. Even though it says running, it's ready because it's a notification. And we could go to run details, but got it. Anyway, so it's ready, so let's go to score model. Alright, there, it's completed. And you can right click it, and you can preview the data. And if we go to price here, so that's actual data. Here's score label. So this is just a machine learning model that's given its own price indicator as a label, and it's based on the data, all of this data to the left of price. And so that's how to do machine learning.